Post on YouTube.
Okay.
Yes. Hey, ring ring.
Hello,
Hi, is this Evan?
that's me.
Evan, this is Dominique. I'm a local real estate agent. I'm sure you know that your property came off the market this morning, and I'm calling you because I am confident I can sell your property and would like to set up a quick 20-minute meeting to show you what I do differently. Are you available today at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. be better?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I've already had a bunch of agents call. Thank you though, but I'm just gonna listen to the same agent. So
Okay, I assume, yeah, you've probably been overwhelmed with all the calls from agents, and I know that everyone's probably saying the same thing. You're kind of getting tired of it, I bet.
yeah, thank you though. Appreciate it.
Hey, and let me ask you this too. I mean, you did have your home on the market just up to yesterday. Are you still interested in selling the home?
Um, yeah, I'm just gonna listen to the same agent though. So
Okay, so if you're just going to go ahead and relist with the same agent. And let me ask you, have you signed the contract yet with that agent?
not yet.
Not yet. Okay, got it. Well, here's what I propose, and I know that I'm one of those agents that's just calling you on the phone, but here's what I'd like to do. Before you sign that contract with that agent, I'd like to come by for just 20 minutes and show you what I do differently. And then at the end of our meeting, you can have all the information to make the best decision for yourself. So would 3 o'clock work for you today, or would 4 p.m. be better?
You know, it sounds nice, but I'm pretty set on going with the same guy.
Oh, you're pretty set on going with the same guy. And hey, I can appreciate that. And honestly, I love that. I love how you obviously you're a smart guy. You found a really good agent, which in today's market is really good. And I'm sure, and I have no doubt that he'll be able to sell the property for you. And at the same time, though, if there is a way where by working with me, I'd be able to not only get you top market price, but also do it in the least amount of time with the least amount of hassle. Is that something that you would just be open to considering and just meeting with me maybe either at 3 or 4, and I can check my schedule if those times don't work?
That actually it sounds pretty good. The thing is though, this guy he's my buddy. Is what I'm gonna say. He's my buddy, and that's why I know he didn't do everything right the first time, but he's a friend, so I'm gonna give him another shot here.
Okay, got it. And that makes sense. It's a friend. Obviously, there's a personal component. You have a personal relationship with them. It sounds like that you want to maintain. Is that right?
That's exactly.
Okay. Okay. And I completely respect that. And I wouldn't in any way want to come between you and a friendship by any means. And Evan, with the sale of your home, or do you consider it more of a business decision, or you consider it a personal decision for you?
Well, I mean, obviously it's a business decision. Yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah. Well, and I like that you do see where I'm going with that. And again, it's to no disrespect to your friend who is an agent. And at the same time, you still want to make sure that you make the best financial decision for yourself. And what I like to do, and again, there's no obligation. I don't have any preconceived notion that by meeting with me, you'll list with me because I know you have that friendship with your friend. All I'm proposing is, and it's not it you can throw me out after 20 minutes. All I'm proposing is coming by, showing you what I do differently, showing you my 16-point marketing plan that gets homes sold. Literally, this past month, I've already closed 3 transactions using this marketing plan. And at the end of our meeting, if anything, you can take that marketing plan to your friend if you feel that you, if you don't feel as confident as I am that I can sell your property. So would you have 20 minutes for that just at 3 o'clock or maybe at 4?
Um, you know, that's fine. Yeah, we
Oh,
can do that.
okay, perfect. So would 4 o'clock work better?
Uh, how about let me ask my wife first, and then I'll call you back. But that doesn't sound bad. I'll definitely check with you before I sign with my buddy.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So why don't we go ahead and do this? Why don't I pencil you in for 4 o'clock? Is that a time where you think your wife might be available? Just that you can think of?
She'll be available. I just want to make sure she's okay and we're on the same page.
Okay, okay, got it, got it. So you just want to make sure that she will be available at that time. You just want to make sure she'll be on the same page with this next step. So how about I do this? And again, I will pencil it in our meeting for 4 o'clock today. And then what I'll do is I'll leave you my number. Do you have a pen and paper?
Yeah, let me grab it real quick. Okay, got it.
Okay, so it's blah 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 555 blah blah. And here's what we'll do, Evan. Get in touch with your wife. I will see you at 4 o'clock. If anything changes or if you want to reschedule, feel free to go ahead and give me a call. But if not, I will see you at 4. Quick 20-minute meeting. Even if she's not if anything comes up, let me know and we can always reschedule it or do it by Zoom. And we'll take it from there. How does that sound?
Yeah, okay, that's fine. We can do that.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right. Well, I will see you today at 4. All right.
Awesome. All right, see you.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, that
Oh
was good. All right, that woke
oh
me
my.
up.
Okay.
That was good.
I was
Um,
like, I feel like I didn't repeat and approve as much. So I think I need to be cognizant of that.
I felt that you repeated and approved great. I think
Mhm.
that there was a few times where you responded, and even though I was, my response was still coming off standoffish, and then
Mhm.
I don't know, I'm trying to think of specific examples, but you would say something like, "Oh, that makes sense," and I wanted to respond and be like, "Okay, I kind of get that," but then you immediately went for the close. You know what I mean? So maybe I guess sometimes it's good to go for the close immediately, and sometimes it's like give me a chance to be like, okay, I kind of actually agree with that. But then when you go for the close immediately, my wall's still up there, so it's like, oh, you know what?
Mm,
Maybe not.
okay.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
That makes sense.
You were
Yeah.
dealing
So
with like my objections like insanely good. So
okay. Okay. But that makes sense. So you're kind of saying that the wall was like coming down, but then
yeah,
I didn't give enough space for you to like take it in.
exactly.
Okay. I see. And then I was just like, close. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
That's a hard thing to read, I guess, because sometimes you do want to go for the close right then and there. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And that's true too, because before this conversation, my intent was to like go for the close at least like a couple of times.
Mhm.
So yeah, I can see, yeah, I need just like picking up those subtle cues. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. That was really good. So
All right, cool. Thank you. All right.
yeah.
FSBO listing presentation.
All right. So
All
I
right.
have, oops. Okay, there we go. I'm back. Okay. So I have most of it ish good enough. Not really. Okay. All right. So we just pre-qual for sale by owner. We'll say 500. You want to list 550.
Okay.
You
Let's see
want to list 550. We'll say it's just you. No other signers at the meeting. And then yeah. Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah, I'm looking up FSBO option.
Again, you could just say yes to everything if you want to. It'd be really nice.
Of course. All right. And then remind me too, where are you getting stuck with FSBOs?
I
Like
haven't been on a
what are,
listing presentation in like 2 weeks.
yeah.
It seems like the whole time there's a wall up as far as we need to think about it and we need to wait, blah blah blah, that kind of thing.
Okay. All right.
So honestly, I think it's something the way I'm setting up the appointments. So we'll see. But that
Okay.
obviously it doesn't really apply here. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
So surprise me.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Screw me
And
over.
then two, no, you're good. And then two, when you're going into this, let's try to pick up like the subtle clues. So I'm gonna like leave
Okay.
a ton. Yeah. Okay. All right.
My
Let's
best. All right.
go.
All right. Dominic, I want to thank you again. It's very nice meeting you, and I appreciate the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you and tell you exactly what I do that would be a financial benefit for you, so I can more than make up for my own commission. So I really appreciate you taking the time. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Just curious.
Awesome. Good. And just as I promised, I brought the CMA. Here's the CMA here. I'm gonna leave it on the table. That's gonna go over price, everything as far as comps and the analysis and things like that. And then this is also our listing agreement. So if you decide that everything makes sense for you and you want to get started, that's here for you also. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean,
So
we're not gonna sign anything. I'm just letting you know, but
okay,
just
that's fine.
yeah.
And over the phone, we did talk about, and you said that you weren't going to sign anything, but if things did make sense, and if you were as confident as I am that that signing with me was a financial benefit, then you would consider it, right?
I would consider it, yeah, if we're
Okay,
able to see what you're, yeah, saying.
good. Okay, so that's what this is here for today. Is if you do, like you said, if you feel confident and things do make sense.
Okay.
Good, good. And so I know you've probably been thinking about going for sell by owner. I know you just put your house on the market last night or yesterday morning. We'll go. You just put your house on the market yesterday morning, so it hasn't even been up for a full 2 days or anything like that. But you've probably been thinking about going for sell by owner for a while now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. So yeah, we made well, I'm sorry. I made the decision to go for sale by owner because I mean, my family, I'm my family has owned tons of real estate. So I know the business. I know
Good.
like what happens. I think for me, it's just agents don't do anything. Like they really don't. I mean, I've been there and I know what to do. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah,
just, yeah,
we're on the same page there then. That's good. Okay. You know,
yeah,
and agents, 99% of agents, they really don't do much. They're going to do sometimes not even as much as you're doing, and you're going to be paying them 3% of your house. Like I saw that you have an open house scheduled for this coming Saturday, right? You're
yes,
taking in phone calls. You're taking really good photos of your house. You're meeting people like me. You're
yeah,
doing a lot, and
yeah,
that's
no,
that's
I
what
am.
agents are going to do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
And that's the beauty thing too. I work from home. So it's not
yeah.
like I don't have an average 9 to 5. So I can be here and like support
Mhm.
putting this up for sale. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in a really good position to sell on your own. Plus, you said, your family, you have a lot of experience in real estate and owning real estate, and you've seen how this is done before. So you're in a
Yeah.
really good position to sell without an agent.
Oh yeah.
Okay, great. And like I said over the phone, one thing I do a little bit differently, I kind of hinted towards it, it's called active marketing.
Mm.
You know what that is?
I mean, I assume it's the opposite of passive marketing. So you're gonna
Yeah,
be yeah.
yeah. So I also do passive marketing. Passive marketing, like we talked about, you sign in the yard, put your phone up on the internet, things like that. I do all of those things, and I do the premium options as much as I can invest in that. Just I pay for the best so you can get the best, because those
Right.
things do matter. They do, even though they're not the hardest to do, and that's what pretty much every agent does. They do bring a lot of value to the table, and that's why I do those things also. What I also do, like I said, is called active marketing. Active marketing is exactly like it sounds. Um, Imagine an agent, instead of just listing your house and then sitting around and waiting. Imagine they went to work for you every single day and was going out trying to find buyers for you and bringing in buyers that were driving up the sales price of your house, that were bidding on your house. That would make a lot more sense, right? As far as working with an agent that wasn't just sitting on their butt all day.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if they were able to actually bring in buyers, that
Hmm.
would make sense. Yeah.
Hmm. And they're putting in the hours every single day, and
Yeah.
going and bringing those buyers, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I do. Every day from 9 to 12, I'm making what I call prospecting calls. I'm talking to anyone in our market here in Davis and Weber County. Everyone that I'm talking to is either selling a house or trying to buy a house. All right, so that's what I'm doing, and that's bringing in a lot of buyers and sellers for my clients. It's finding sellers for my buyers and buyers for my sellers, obviously. And then after that, from about 12 to 7:30 is when I finish with my appointments, is when I'm going and meeting with these sellers and buyers, like I'm meeting with you. And one of the questions I asked you when we were on the phone is, are you looking to buy a house after you sell this one? And you told me that no, you're moving out of state and you already have your plan set. If
Yeah.
you had told me something else, is you were looking, most people that move are move within a few miles. So if you had told me that you're moving just to the city up north or the city down south, we'd be having a different conversation on top of this one, where I'd be trying to help you find a buyer, or I'd be helping you trying to find a house. Okay.
Right.
and
Yeah.
and hopefully, and even if you didn't find even if you didn't like any of the houses I have for sale, it would still bring in a lot of business for me, and then also help you try to find a house. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it sounds like yeah, you're on the phone and you're calling buyers, like trying to find and match them to the properties you have, right?
Hmm. And it takes a lot of time, and it's not something that's necessarily easy, but it is time consuming. It is, but it does bring a lot of value, and that's why
Yeah.
other agents don't do it, because it takes so much time to do. But
Oh, you're saying other agents don't do that?
no, 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 agent. So I'm in a training group online, and there's other agents in other states that do this with me. But no, I haven't met anyone else in our Davis and Weaver County that does this. I want to believe that there's someone out there that does this. Um, but as far as I've met, the few thousand agents that I've met with, none of them do this.
Interesting. Okay.
It's time consuming, right? And agents don't want to do it. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I can see that. They don't want
no.
to do a lot of things. So
Yeah, and I'll tell you, before this, I was actually a trucker. I was working 80 to 90 hours a week. So, and then I went straight into real estate. So to me, it just makes sense to keep working all day long. And it's kind of hard to just sit down and not do anything and just wait for the buyers to come in.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, that's kind of the difference. I know you seem rightfully so super concerned about hiring an agent that's just going to sit on the butt and do what you're doing. So that's kind of where I think I differ and why I'm so confident that I can bring you the highest sales price, not only compared to if you were going for sell by owner, but if you were going to work with any other agent. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, are we on the same? We're on the same page there for the most part.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, okay, good. And I'm lost. Okay, okay. So one of the important things I wanted to mention to you, Dominique, is I don't know if back in high school or college you took an economics class, um, but the basic law of economics is supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. And the reason I bring that up, and I know it sounds super simple, the reason I bring that up is because I'm sure you would agree the law of supply and demand kind of applies to everything that you're trying to sell, a service or a property or any product or anything like that. And it says that the higher demand we can bring in for anything, the higher demand we can bring in for any service or product, the higher price we can get out of it. Is that right?
Yeah. I agree with
Okay,
that.
great. And that applies to your house too. And as far as supply, that's pretty much already taken care of. You have a great house. There's only one of your house. The market's super hot. There's not a lot of other properties on the market. So as
Mhm.
far as supply, you've already done your thing. My job comes in at the demand. Um, Demand is bringing in, as like we said, as many buyers as we can. And from my perspective, the only way to get top market value is if we bring in 100% of the buyers. If we make sure that all of the buyers in our market are aware of your house and looking at your house and seeing it for what it is, and
Right.
also all of the agents that have buyers are doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we agree that 100% exposure and 100% of the buyers on the market being aware and seeing your house for what it is, that's going to bring top market value.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, great. And I know that makes sense to you because, I mean, like we said earlier, you've been doing a lot of things to maximize the exposure. There's a lot of things you've been doing, like we talked about, as far as holding open houses, taking
Yeah.
phone calls, pictures, all that. So you understand that, and you
Yeah.
really do need the exposure.
Yeah. And I think that's what we've done. I've done a really good job of it. Like,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah. So I think, I mean, it's still day one too. So
No, and your experience as far as having family that has a lot of real estate and being able to do all of this while you're working from home at the same time, it's really showing as far as you're standing out from everybody else in the crowd. So
yeah.
props to you.
Yeah. No. Thanks.
Yeah, no, you're good. And I don't know if you're familiar with this information. I would imagine probably not, just because you sound like you're a busy woman and being a real estate agent isn't your full-time job like it is for me. Um, the NAR stands for the National Association of Realtors. They're an organization that's been around for decades, and one of the things they do every year is they study homes. Blah, blah, blah. They study home sales nationwide, and they publish these reports that have all kinds of information
Mhm.
regarding home sales. They want to provide information not only to realtors like me, but also, sorry about that, but also to the public for when people want to sell their house, people want to buy a house. All this information, all these studies are available to you, and I'd highly recommend you go and look at these online. I'll warn you, they are kind of dried up, but they're
Mhm.
very important and give a lot of good information.
Okay.
One of the things that they determined, and one of these studies that they did last year, and that was in 2020, nationwide, not just Utah specific, but nationwide, 92% of all homes that were sold in the country were actually sold by an agent.
Makes sense.
So that means, yeah, and that does make sense, right? That's what you would think the numbers would be around. So that means that 8% were sold without an agent. In essence, basically a private seller, like a for sale by owner.
Right.
Were Like you said, that kind of makes sense. I don't know if you were familiar with that information.
Um, I mean, no, I haven't heard of it, but it makes sense to me. Just yeah, it
Okay.
makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, good. And I get that that may not seem too surprising or too significant, but the reason I bring that up, Dominique, is because I know you're getting a lot of calls, and I know your house is gorgeous, and you're really putting in the work to get this house sold.
Yeah.
Um, and since we know that demand, again, getting in 100% of the demand equals more money for your house and exposing your property to 100% of the buyers so that we can sell for the most money possible. If 92% of the buyers are working with agents and they're going to houses that are being sold by agents, that means that as a for sale by owner, even though you're doing all these things, you're only attracting about 8% of the buyer's market. Do you see what I mean there? And you see how that can represent somewhat of an issue?
Well, I'm well, no, because I'm paying a buyer's commission. I think we talked about that on the phone.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
we
that
did.
buyer's agent, so they'll be using an agent. It's just I'm not having an agent.
Exactly, exactly. And that's half of it. Paying a buyer's commission, it definitely isn't cheap. And that's
Yeah.
that's one half of it. And these 92% that we're talking about, those are
Mhm.
both transactions that had an agent on both sides. Um,
Mhm.
so here in Utah, we use KSL again. So buyers agents aren't on KSL. So they're not even going to be looking at your house aside from the few agents that you've had call you trying to list with you. Agents stay on the MLS. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
it's
Yeah.
a, it's a lot easier as an agent when we go on the MLS. It's like, and all the options we have to search down our criteria for the house that we're looking for our buyers. It's like in the movies when you see someone flying a plane and there's all these controls on the dashboard.
Mhm.
It takes them forever to learn, but that's what it's like on the MLS. We have all these options that we can narrow down the houses that we're looking for, as opposed to being on KSL where you're working with for sale by owners that aren't represented by an agent, and it takes forever to search through these houses. That's why buyers stay on the MLS, or buyers
Yeah.
agents are on the MLS. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. It is because I didn't hear about KSL until I actually searched for sale by owner. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, good. So I guess with that information, it is a little bit easier to see that 92% of buyers, you're only going to be having about 8% of buyers look at your house, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And that could be an issue, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and if we do agree that, it requires 100% exposure and 100% of the buyers to equal top market price, and as a for sale by owner, you're cut out from a lot of that, right? If we know that 100% of exposure equals top market value, what does 8% equal?
Less than top market value, maybe. Like
Okay.
maybe like a little, I don't know, like 3 or 4% less than market value.
Okay.
Maybe
Gotcha.
10. Yeah.
Maybe 10. Well, 10% is a lot of, even 3 or 4% is a lot of money, right?
I mean, 3% is like the commission. So I think that makes sense. But like, yeah, I guess 10 is like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was 3 or 4%, then just that fact alone would if you think of it in the numbers perspective, it would make sense just to go with an agent just for that 30%, right? Because if you're going to be, if you could be making what it costs to go with an agent anyways.
I don't see. What do you mean by that?
So if you're going for sell by owner and this lack of exposure and only having 8% of the buyers,
Mhm.
it's going to bring your sales price down about 3%. But the reason you're going for sell by owner is so you can save 3% to not pay an agent. Those kind of cancel each other out, don't they?
Oh, yeah, I guess yeah, that does make sense. So I mean, yeah, I'm assume it's probably less than that if because
Okay.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
Okay. That would make sense. And 8% exposure, that's a lot compared to 100%. That's a lot less, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so here's what's interesting, Dominique, is, and again, here's what's part of all the research they studied in the National Association of Realtors, and there's other studies online too. That last year in 2020, and again, it's about the same every single year. It fluctuates a percent or two, but in the year of 2020, last year, nationwide, the average for sale by owner sold for 26% less than homes that were listed by agents.
20. Wow, that's a lot more than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's
And even
well,
in the seller's market, because it's the
even in a
hottest.
Yeah, I mean 2021 is not as hot as 2020, but here in Utah, 2020 was ridiculous, right? It
Yeah.
was, yeah. So even in the seller's market, still 26%. And in 2019, it was 28%. So it is coming down a lot. Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
2% is a lot of money when it goes from 28 to 26, but you're
Yeah, that's
you're
true.
still looking at, if I had to guess, so I have an Excel sheet at home, and
Mhm,
it has every single for sale by owner that's listed in Davis and Weber County.
mhm,
I track everything as far as what they sell for, their CMA value, under contract, how long they're under contract for, all this stuff.
mhm.
And my numbers are coming in at about 21 to 22%. So it's not as high as 26 right now.
Wow.
But I mean, these are and I'm telling you, these are the numbers for the past few months.
Oh,
So
wow.
21 to
Okay.
22%
Less than,
less than if they were listed for, with an agent.
okay.
Does that make
I
sense?
mean, yeah, that makes sense. I think that makes sense. I think that not a lot of for sale by owners, again, have my experience
Oh
real
yeah,
estate. Yeah, so they don't know because I think I've priced my house very well. I know at this price that it's going to sell. So because I mean I've looked at the comps, I've like looked at everything.
good,
So I know that this is the right price. Yeah.
good, good. And to be honest with you, I don't have any doubt that your home's going to sell. All right, I've done my research, and like I said, not as many. I mean, it's hard to come by a for sale by owner that is as savvy as you and that's on top of their game like you. You
Yeah.
really know, you're really on top of this. I have no doubt that your home's going to sell. Is it going to sell for 20, 22% less? I don't think so that much. There's a lot of reasons why homes sell less, and a lot of it does have to do with the owner and how much work they're putting in it. You definitely have that covered. Um, but there's a lot of reasons why for sale by owners tend to sell for so much less, and a lot of it's out of your control. Um, but one of the
What do
things I
you
want to talk to, yeah. So one of the things I want to talk to you about is the kind of buyers that are coming in. So again, we only have those 8% of buyers that are coming in, and the issue is not only the quantity of buyers that we're attracting as a for sale by owner, but also the quality of buyers. Uh, I just want to go over this with you really quick. There's four types of buyers, and these are things that we have to deal with as realtors too. So if you do decide to sign with me today, this isn't just only applying to you. This applies to everyone that's selling their house. There's the four types of buyers. The first one is they're serious buyers and they're in a hurry. Obviously, that's like the best kind of buyer that you can have, right?
right, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I found my script and the perfect example. Okay. So there's the serious and in a hurry. This is someone that they're probably trying to sell their home and they need to buy a home fairly quickly, right? That's
Yeah.
pretty much most people that are selling their home in this market. They need to
Yes.
move to another one, right?
Yes.
And doesn't it make sense that if they're in a fairly in a hurry and they're trying to sell things fairly quickly and buy fairly quickly, sorry, that they're going to go directly to a real estate agent who has access to thousands of these homes for sale, and they're going to go to an agent that's going to do all of the work for free. So basically, they're going to be represented by a buyer's agent.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense because when I'm looking for my place, I'm not trying. I didn't search for sale by owner, so
Exactly. I mean, in it, and again, working with a buyer's agent is completely free to the buyer, right? The unfortunate side is the seller, which is you right
has
now,
to
has to pay
pay it.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is a good point. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's few reasons, but important reasons why a buyer would choose not to work with an agent. But obviously, our number one choice as a buyer that's in a hurry and they're serious, they're going to be almost surely working with an agent, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And the second type of buyer of the four is the serious. They're serious buyers. They really want to buy a house and they intend on buying a house, but they're not in a hurry. The perfect example of this is a first-time home buyer. Do you remember when you first bought a home?
Yeah, it took me forever. Yeah, that's true. It
It
took
does.
me like to get this house. I probably looked at like 30 homes
Okay,
until I found this one, which was perfect for me. So
gotcha. Was this your first house?
it was, yeah. So this is
Nice.
my first house. Yeah.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's kind of hard to part with it then because there's probably some emotional attachment too.
I mean, yeah, I've moving. I'm kind of over the winter, so it's not. So it's like the chapter is closed. I'm ready to go on.
Okay,
So
okay, fair enough,
yeah,
fair enough, fair enough.
yeah.
But yeah, like you said, when you're a first time home buyer, it is pretty rough. And I imagine when you were buying a house, when you were buying this house, it wasn't the market wasn't as hot for sellers as it is right now.
No, it wasn't. It definitely, we had to like, it was, I mean, yeah, no, it wasn't. Like we could, I think I got like a concession on this house, and then because there was something wrong, and then the sellers, we were pretty much the only people they had
Yeah,
buying it. So it was kind of like, no, for sure. It was
but
in my
it was
favor.
still took a lot of time though, right? It's gonna
Yeah, it
take
took,
even longer in today's market.
yeah, it took time, but for
Okay,
sure. Yeah.
good. And obviously, when you're a first time home buyer, you don't really know what you know. You're kind of clueless, right? You don't know what you're doing. You're kind of just looking for help. You're looking for an agent, a buyer's agent, to guide you along the way, right?
Yeah, it's
There's
true.
really
I
no
mean,
way you'd want to try to buy a house as a first time home buyer without an agent.
yeah, I mean, it was the agent was my brother. So, I
Nice.
mean, yeah, so yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Okay. And so yeah, if you're a first time home buyer, you're obviously going to be working with an agent on the buying side, and it'd be kind of scary to also kind of pretty scary to be trying to buy a house from a for sale by owner that's also not represented, right? That would be it's hard to see a first time home buyer doing that.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine doing it without. Yeah,
Exactly. Okay, great. So those are the first two, and those are the first two that the main buyers that you're going to be want to attracting. And so far, we can see that they're going to be working with agents, and for the most part, there are going to be exceptions, but for the most part, are going to be missing your house and not looking at your house.
yeah, yeah. Okay. I
Okay, but
see.
there's more. But wait, there's more.
Yeah,
And then Dominique, there's the investors. I probably don't need to go too much into this with you. Investors, obviously, you don't want to sell your house to an investor, right?
no,
Okay.
they're bargain hunters.
Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with them. They're just doing their
No,
job,
no, I
right?
mean that's what my
But
family does. Yeah, so
good, yeah. But
they're
by nature, they can't pay top market value for your house,
yeah,
right?
yeah. No, they
And
can't.
okay, and there's a lot of investors out there, and in fact, there's a lot of real estate investment seminars and webinars and kind of things that investors go to learn what properties to buy and things like that. And I don't know if you've talked with your family about this or not. The top two properties that investors go after are
Of course
foreclosures. So
they.
for ooh, I had you there for a second. Foreclosures.
Yeah.
I don't know. This wasn't in the script, so I don't want to. I don't know if I should say that,
No, no,
or
no.
if I
Keep
should
going,
just
keep
skip
going,
it.
keep going. No, no, I like it. Keep going, keep going.
Okay. So the top two properties that the investors go for foreclosures, and foreclosures obviously they need to sell right now. They're in a pickle. They're willing to
Yeah,
let go of their house as long as they can walk away scot free.
yeah.
But the number one and more common um, target, oh, that's dirty. And the number one,
No, say Target. I think that's good.
okay, the number one target for investors, ahead of foreclosures is actually for sale
For
by
sale by
owners.
owners. Yeah.
Exactly. Again, we've talked about why the buyers that we want to be working with
Mm-hmm.
when selling your house, we've talked about how they're going to be working with agents. Um, Investors don't have to. Investors, they're usually very savvy. They know what they're doing. They have a lot of experience in this, like your family, right? They
Yeah,
don't need an agent, and they're willing to go out and try to get a deal
yeah.
because they know that for sale by owners. Here's the conundrum here is as a for sale by owner, it's not really a secret that you're a for sale by
Morning.
owner, right?
No, it's no secret. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So I was looking at my script. So um, it's not really secret that you're for sale by owner. And obviously the investors know that too. And the pickle is that you're trying to save a commission by going for sale by owner, right?
Yeah.
The issue is that they're also trying to save that commission,
Yeah,
right?
because they know that there's an agent. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I think I forgot to ask this, but I'm gonna pretend I did. Well, so one of the questions I asked you earlier is what would make a buyer skip working with an agent and go straight to working with a for sale by owner? What would make a buyer skip all the free services, professional services of an agent and go straight to a for sale by owner?
If they felt they could get like a discount,
Yeah,
probably.
exactly. That's pretty much the only reason you would go ahead and want to work with a for sale by owner. And that
Yeah,
those are the 8% of buyers that you're going to be dealing with as a for sale by owner.
yeah.
So that's a serious issue as far as, well, actually, let me go over the last kind of buyer. And this is a real big issue for everyone in the real estate business is trying to sell the house, not just for sale by owners.
Mhm.
The last one is they're called lookers.
Yeah.
Lookers surprisingly make up the majority of the phone calls you and I are going to be getting
Yeah.
that say that they want to buy your house. So-called buyers that say they want to come and look at your house and that will actually come and look at your house. Most of them are just lookers.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and that can be pretty frustrating, to be honest. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, it can be.
here's another weird stat. According to the NAR, only about 4% of people that are inquiring for your house, meaning they call your house and say they are interested in your house,
Mhm.
only about 4% are ready, willing, and able buyers that are able to buy your house, they want to buy your house, and they're ready to buy your house. Yeah, those
Yeah.
three.
Yeah.
So and that's a tiny number. And that's just an issue that you're gonna have to deal with, that I'm gonna have to deal with, just so you know, that's just a good tidbit of information. But as we can see, looking at these four kinds of buyers, it has nothing to, it does have something to do, but for the most part, I think you're covered. Um, some of the things are out of your control as far as the for sale by owner, as far as when you put that label on yourself as not using an agent, the types of buyers and the limited types of buyers that you attract. Um,
Mhm.
Obviously, if you put yourself in a room, you in your house, and you put yourself in an auction room, and you have 10 people, and you know, 8 of them are investors and bargain hunters, and 2 of them are serious buyers, the house is, especially if you're the house is still going to sell, right?
Yeah.
If you put your house, or you put you and your house in an auction room with 100 people, and they're all serious buyers that are looking to outbid each other, which one do you think, which auction room is going to sell your house for more?
The second one. Yeah.
Okay. And it's still you selling the same house.
Yeah. No,
So,
it makes sense. What you're saying makes sense. I see what you're saying.
okay, great. Um, Wait, I'm lost. And we're gonna skip all that. Okay. I don't really know how to go into the close before I go into CMA. So
Oh, wait. Yeah. So let's pretend we do the CMA. So let's transition to the CMA.
do you want to, I was gonna skip the CMA. Do you actually want to do the CMA?
No, no, no. Just do
Okay.
the trend.
Yeah.
Like, how would you transition from this into the next part?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, we talk about a lot, and I know a lot of this isn't good news, and a lot of it sounds pretty dark. But like I said, the good news is when working with me, you don't have to deal with any of this. I'm going to be the one fielding all the phone calls. I'm going to be the one bringing in the hundreds of buyers that are looking at your house. I'm going to be the one working every day for you and taking care of all of this hassle. And can I tell you the best part?
What's that?
I'm doing all of this for free until I can bring you an offer that you find acceptable. Okay, so I'm doing all of this for free until I can bring you an offer that you're like, yeah, I want to accept that. So, I mean, it sounds like a pretty good deal, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, when you put it that way, it does. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, is there any, I don't want to ask that. But so is there anything else before we go over the price and go over the CMA, which is what we're going to do in a minute here? Um, if we can agree on, well, let me ask this. Is there any other question that you have of information that we've gone over, or why you might, any questions you have as going for sell by owner versus listing with me or any other agent?
No.
No? Okay. So if we can go ahead and agree on a price today, can we go ahead and go to work and we can list your property and I can get it sold for you?
I mean, I everything you said makes sense. I think. I mean, I'd still have to think about it. It's just a lot of information. So
Okay. It is a lot of
yeah,
information. It's a big decision too. So
yeah, yeah.
if you don't mind me asking, what are we thinking about?
Um, I mean, I see what you're saying and it makes sense, but now it's kind of an issue of like, well, because my brother, he he could technically still sell it
Uh-huh.
because he helped me buy it. He's not local or anything, but I still feel like I
Yeah,
would want to talk to him
gotcha.
before, yeah,
That's what I'd
listing.
assumed because you said he helped
Yeah.
you buy the house. So I assumed since you weren't using him, he must be, not in the area.
Yeah, no, he moved a while back, but we can make it work. I'd have to check with him first. So
Okay, gotcha.
yeah.
And working with your family is definitely important. And you already did that, so you get that.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be more beneficial to be working with an agent that was closer to your home and could be putting in, like I said, a lot of the groundwork and a lot of the grunt work that I'd be doing, do you think that'd be more beneficial than trying to work with a family member from afar?
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I think for me, I still have to like ask, it can't be like, like surprise. I'm listing my house with another agent, even though
Oh,
you're
okay.
like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. So you think he would
Yeah.
take it a little personal then?
Yeah. Like for me right now, it's fine because it's just like we know, like I have the experience, whatever. And he's like, it's fine. I'm far away. But like
Okay.
to list with an agent, it kind of be a little bit, I don't know. I don't know. It could be weird. It might not be weird. I just want to check with him. So yeah.
I'll be straight up honest with you. Sometimes it is weird. Weird is if someone that's close to you you expected was going to work with you and they don't, it can be really it can feel like they like almost went behind your back, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It depends on the
Yeah.
situation, but sometimes it doesn't feel right.
Right.
And how far away is your brother?
So he's about 2 hours away.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty far.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, personally, me, if it were, I actually just met with my sister yesterday. If it were my family member and they were 2 hours away, I would tell them to work with another agent. I would still be on the phone with them and talking with them throughout the process and making sure they're doing everything right and getting all the things done. But I wouldn't want them to try to force things to work with me when
Yeah.
they could have a very obviously very hardworking and dedicated agent working for them right there and then. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think I just have to like, I still want to bring it up, so
For
it's not like
sure.
a shock. Yeah.
I would definitely talk to him about it for sure.
Yeah.
Um, if you don't mind me asking, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a question like that. On a scale of 1 to 10, as far as working with me and choosing to work with me today and signing this paper so I can go ahead and get your house sold and get to work for you starting tomorrow morning. On a scale of 1 to 10, one being no, get out of here, and 10 being yeah, let's do this. Where do you think we are?
I mean, you've brought a lot of good information. I think at this point, it's hard to tell. It's just really hard to tell. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I'm still 50-50 at this point. So maybe like a 5. And it's nothing personal to you. It's just me trying to figure out. Yeah. Yeah, it's just me trying to figure out like everything you say makes sense.
Okay.
It's just I have to figure out the whole family component to it.
Okay. Is that the only thing that's kind of getting in the way as far as right now is working with family?
Yeah, well, I mean that and it's now a matter of I don't know. Yeah, I would say yeah, it's family mostly.
But also, it's like you said earlier, it's a big decision, a lot to process too, right?
Yeah, it is. It really is.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I should have even brought that back up, but so yeah, it is a big decision, and that's something that it's a lot of it. Unfortunately, is bad news too. When no one wants to look at the bad news and just kind of accept it right there and then. So I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But considering that your brother is 2 hours away. And I mean, I don't know him, but I would assume most agents don't want to work with someone that's 2 hours away because there's a lot of work that goes into being at the house, like the
Yeah.
inspection, the walkthrough. Well, some of these, you have to be at the house for, right?
Yeah.
So that would be kind of an issue for him if he's 2 hours away.
It might
You-
be. Yeah.
yeah. So with that being said, do you think working with him is still an option as far as signing with him and having him drive out here all the time?
I mean, it's still an option. He could always stay here too while he's trying to sell it. So it's still an
Okay.
option. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
He's a realtor? Is he full time?
I don't, I think so. Yeah. I would say he's full time and maybe, but he more so does investments too. So
Okay, gotcha.
yeah.
So I mean, it sounds like he could stay out here, but he's probably gonna have a lot to work on as far as, his own life and things like that too,
Yeah.
that he's gonna
I
be
mean,
at.
I don't know. I just have to check with him. That's the thing. So yeah.
I don't know how to deal with this.
Okay. So let's do a recap. So
Okay.
the presentation is very good. I think that so to handle that, I think there would be two options. One I've seen Jackie do and one I saw and like a different one. So the first option is you can say, here's what I'll do. Um, here's what we can do. Let's talk to your brother. I can kind of go over the information with him and you, and then shoot, like what is it? It's the way Jackie did it. Oh, talk to your brother, and if anything, I can give him like a referral fee. or we can somehow include him in the compensation so that he
So
feels right, or we can work together or something like that. So that's one that Jackie has used where she's like, you know what, like, I know this is family. I know that this is very important to you. So why don't we, if you go, like, if you were confident that there was a way where I could work with your brother and he can still be a part of this transaction, then you kind of, and you did a really good job with that, like where he could be on the phone with you and talk you through it and everything like that. I think you want to bring up, because right now in my mindset, I have this kind of wall that's gone up, which is like loyalty to family. So you have to kind of, instead of trying to
just trying to
ask
break it.
questions, yeah, instead of trying to ask questions about like, oh, does he work full time? Oh, does he do this?
You're
Just be
right.
like, just be like, hey, like I think again, that line you used with, oh, of course, I would like your brother, if he sold you this home, he should absolutely be involved, like on the phone with you, so on and so forth. And at the same time, wouldn't it be nice to have two agents working with you to get this property sold? You have your brother over there and you have me here doing the local work. And then we could do a referral fee out to him. We could, like somehow you want to brainstorm with them to
Get them on
give
the
them this.
team.
Exactly. Put them on the team. Exactly. Especially when it's family.
Okay, wait,
And
time out. Let me
then,
get my pen. My pen's on the floor somehow.
okay.
Okay, sorry
Okay.
about that.
No, you're good. And then, so that's one way that I've seen Jackie in her videos approach the somebody I would go with another agent. There's like a huge wall to working with anybody else. And then there's another really good Tina Call, who trained with Jackie. What she does is she'll do and it might be strong, but she'll have them sign it anyways, but she'll say, look, if anything, so how the way she does it, it's very subtle. It's like, okay, so you want to check with your brother first before you get started. So why don't we do this? And again, I can go over the paperwork with you and I can kind of address all your concerns. And you can, how does she do it? So basically, she's like, if you go ahead and sign with me, and after talking with your brother, he's going to go ahead and list the property, I can tear this up and mail it back to you. And there's nothing is, and that's it. And that's a
Okay.
promise, or, you know what I mean? Like she does it kind of like the whole idea is get them to sign there now. And
Yeah.
then if something changes, then rip it up afterwards and
Okay.
mail it back to them. Yeah.
I don't know if I feel like that would take a lot of trust, between the client, and I don't know if I could pull it off right now, but yeah, that's definitely a good idea.
Yeah, it's
I've seen that
definitely,
video too.
yeah. Oh, you've seen that video. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely like it's a very strong, it's like a stronger close. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
So do you know if when Jackie does, like, she offers to talk with them over the phone, and things like that, does she ever try to call them, like, I'm assuming she's trying to get the listing signed right there and then, does she call right there and then too? Call the family member?
Um, I don't think so. No, I think what she does is the way she positions it, she's like, we'll find a solution, um, no matter what. So go ahead and sign with me and we will find a solution. We're not going to figure it out exactly right now,
Okay.
because the whole goal for her is to get a signature on the page. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's good. Yeah. And I think too, yeah, so that's just in case you get stuck. And I think overall, did really good. Definitely, the way you presented the statistics, it was good and it made sense and it flowed very well. And the compliments are really good too. I think that it definitely kept piquing my interest throughout the conversation, which I think that's just a psychology thing. When you compliment people, they like pay attention, for sure. And then I think the biggest thing is the biggest room opportunities, that I saw where I would say with the types of questions you asked, I think that I would say the majority of them were yes, no questions. And so, which isn't a bad thing at all. I think though that there were certain responses where I was still very aloof, where I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And then you kept going. And I think you want to kind of just at those points, I would say do more checkpoints where you ask more longer, like in-depth questions, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think like, for example, because I'm trying to think. So for example, in the conversation, I said like, oh, I hadn't even heard of KSL until I did the Google search. And
Uh-huh.
you were like, oh, okay, yeah. And then so I think that would have been,
Oh, you're right.
yeah, and you responded, but I think that would have been like a huge opportunity to, I think, dive in. I don't know, like just to check in. You like
Okay.
check in with me and like really say, okay, so would you like you know what I mean? Like I don't know
Be
what the
fair.
question would be. Yeah.
No,
But
that's a good point. I mean, to me, when I heard that, I was like, okay, she's not from Utah. Because everyone in Utah knows, like, everyone in Utah knows what
oh,
KSL
everybody
is.
knows the
Yeah, no, it's
KSL
not
is.
yeah,
Oh, it's
it's
not a
big
secret.
here.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay.
But
Got it,
yeah,
got
you're
it.
right. If that was said, I would have to like I should have dove into that. But
Yeah,
um,
exactly,
yeah, a lot of my
exactly.
questions, like you said, like a lot of my questions were yes or no. That was just to keep them engaged and make sure they're listening and things like that. But
Yeah,
like as far as asking the important questions, as far as like bringing up like the 8% and like asking them what does 8% bring,
yeah,
and things like that. Yeah, I definitely need to work on the way I ask that 100%
yeah, yeah.
because
And
that
I
was
think,
pretty
and
shitty. So
no, you're good. And I think, yeah, I think again, it's not like every single question has to be like a detailed, like try to get the response, but you really want to, I would, if it were me, I would pepper in more questions where it's like getting an actual them to say something
okay,
like how does that feel? Or like, does that make sense? Or would you agree with that? Or, you know what I mean? Like something where it's not just like yes, no, yes, no,
something more
yes, no.
involving.
Something more involving. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And like, yeah, I think that would help a lot. But yeah, no, I thought it was really good. I think, yeah, it was good.
Thanks. I
I
just
was
need to
like,
not read the whole thing and we'll be good.
no, yeah,
That would
yeah,
help
yeah, that would help.
at the appointment for
Yeah,
sure. So
yeah, no, I think that was good. Do you remember? Oh, that's why. Yeah. So I think I know I'm like, ugh. But so I even noted the best as an example of the types of questions that I really liked is when you said, "Oh, so do you remember what it was like when you bought your first home?"
okay.
Those are the types of questions. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was like really good because it got me talking about myself, and it got like it really felt like okay, I'm like in this presentation, and like I can share something about myself. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so like having those, just using a few more of those types of questions to like up the engagement would be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Jackie's question. Oh,
Oh, it
so
was Jackie's
yeah, no way.
question.
No, I think what was that?
Okay. Yeah, but that was good. It's good that you brought it up too, because it was like, oh yeah, I do remember. Like, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
There's
yeah.
another type of presentation that I've been looking at too, or it's completely different, but part of the way he gets people involved is by asking, like he calls it target marketing, where he says, I'm gonna go find the person that was you when you bought this house. So they ask like, what were you looking for when you were buying this house? And they say, what do you love about this house? What about the kitchen? They just go on asking them about all of the house.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna dive into that a little bit too, as far as getting them involved and
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I
making them
think,
feel a part of it.
yeah, making them feel a part of it, that like those questions would be good too. And then I'm trying to think for FSBO too. Like what's about and then oh yeah, when you said working for free. So I think you said, oh, so basically I'd be working for you for free. And then I was kind of like, do you remember my response?
I don't know.
Okay. So my response, it was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. And I was like, and then you kept going. So like, if I
Okay.
think, yeah. So
Should have picked
just
up on it.
you should have, yeah, picked up on that. And like, because if somebody, and like, if you're offering your services for free, you want to make sure, and somebody's just like, whatever, like you want to pick up on that and be like, why? You know what
Excuse
I
me?
mean? Yeah, not like not like yeah, like did you hear me? But like yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Because if you say that if you say that and they're just kind of like, "Oh, okay," then it's almost as if that's a sign that they didn't really hear you. Because if you're offering to
Yeah.
do something for free until, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that's a big deal. So if
Hmm.
somebody just doesn't grazes over it, it's either they haven't been listening or they didn't really hear you.
Yeah.
And so that's where you want to kind of check in with them and say, so, hey, if, I mean, that's where you would want to check and say, like, if I'm able to do all this work for you, get you that offer top market price in this amount of time, does that make sense? And are you willing to work with me, or does that make sense to work together? Like, would it make sense for us to work together? And then be like, oh yeah, no, that would make sense if you're able, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
You start getting that conversation, and then you start almost like closing before the actual close. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Build up to it for
Yeah.
sure.
Build up to it. Yeah. So yeah.
Hmm.
Any
Yeah, that was
questions? Okay. Sorry. I'm like,
no,
blah!
that was great, man. And I'm sorry,
Okay.
we obviously went way over time. That's my fault. But
No, you're good.
that was really good information as far as the review and everything. And
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna post. I didn't post the last one we did too, where I just didn't say a goddamn thing. Where you nailed your
No,
expired call, and then I'm like, hi.
no, you're good.
So we'll do like it'll be like a little bit of a before and after. You know what I mean?
No, okay. Oh my God. No, okay. But yeah, so as long, yeah, and I'm sorry about yesterday too. I just like
Oh, it's all good.
spaced.
On a Wednesday, I opened the Zoom meeting on a Wednesday, not Thursday. On Wednesday, I was like literally about to click send. I'm like, wait, it is Thursday, right? I was like, oh no,
Yeah.
it's Wednesday. So I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
like I have the same issue, but
yeah. It was weird, but yeah.
so
But yeah, so no, I don't mind, I think. But yeah, thanks for taking the time again today for
yeah,
sure.
thank you. So,
Yeah, but good job. So yeah, go ahead and post it. Let's see. You can like rewatch
yeah,
it.
yeah, I'll rewatch it for sure. So, but so I got Espresso Agent. That feels like a pilot's dashboard. There's a lot of stuff on there, man, and I haven't
There
quite figured it out
is,
yet. So,
yeah. Just getting started. Just go to God, what is it? Contacts and off market. That's honestly like I just stay there. And then I don't even, so I only started using their auto dialer.
that was weird.
Maybe it is weird. Yeah, it takes a lot of getting used to. So I don't use it. I honestly, what I'll do is I'll hand dial the expireds first, just to like clear out the bad numbers, and then I'll like then the next day I'll put it into auto dial and like just go through it.
Okay,
So
how do you get the expired numbers? That's like the biggest thing to me. I don't,
oh, that's the off market. It's under the off market. So you go to
where's
contact.
okay, off market's under contacts.
Yeah, it's under
Okay.
contacts. Yeah, so it's contacts is the tab,
Oh,
and then to the left you'll see it'll have like off market, FSBO,
oh, okay. I must have
or
blanked all of that.
FRBO. Yeah, and then you'll click on off market, and then it'll show you. And the ones that aren't that are highlighted are the new ones. Yeah,
Okay, that's great.
yeah.
Okay.
So definitely.
Next time I'll make a few phone calls today, and then I'll do a expired phone call tomorrow or on Tuesday. So let's see how
Ooh,
that goes.
yummy. Yeah, no, those are good. Those are good.
Okay.
You'll do fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. But again, thanks for the all the criticism. It really is good. So appreciate it.
No, I don't. I hope you don't take it as criticism.
No,
You
I
do?
love
Like,
criticism. Criticism is good. It's a
okay.
good thing to me. I
It's
don't mean it in a bad way.
constructive feedback.
Constructive criticism.
Constructive feedback. All right.
All right. Good luck with everything.
All right. Thanks. You
All right.
too.
Bye bye.
Bye.